Here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's the Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm Alex, that's Mike. We are The Good Brothers, the best pop culture podcast in the Midwest, probably in the multiverse, honestly. And just a little rant here. If you are above the age of 18 and have no children and still like the snow, you are a terrible person. Go jump off a bridge into that freezing cold water you love so much. Hi, Mike.
Hello, and while you're at it, please pound some sand and kick some rocks. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Good Brothers. Good brother, how's your week been?
So far, so good. We'd like to thank our overlord, Lord Mickey, in the name of Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto. Amen.
Amen, and thank you so much for what we were given in this plentiful week. Good brother, I get to break down episode 1 of the because Disney Plus has finally been bestowed upon us by those great gods. We also have a new look of a certain hedgehog that's kind of into theaters. We have so many breaking news stories, literally, as we were doing show notes for today, when it comes to Netflix, when it comes to other streaming sites, and of course, brother, we have to break down all the craziness that happened in the squared circle, including
a certain man from a certain city with a certain Pepsi tattoo has returned.
Punk. That's right. CM Punk is kind of back in WWE. We break that,
He's back.
All that, and much more. Let's all go to the movies.
Why? Disney Plus is out. Netflix is out. Wrestling's out. Why are we going to the movies, Mike?
And why
that's our job, right?
Yeah, and as you say that, nobody went to the movies because at number 1 was Midway at $17 million. At 2, Dr. Sleep with $14 million. At 3, Playing with Fire, $12 million. At 4, Last Christmas with $11 million. At 5, Terminator Dark Fate. At 6, Joker. At 7, Maleficent. At 8, Harriet. At 9, Zombieland Double Tap. And number 10, The Addams Family. I want to give a quick shout out to number 11, Jojo Rabbit. And number 13, Parasite, 2 Oscar contenders. They're still sticking around the top 15.
They're also in limited theaters, so we don't expect them to make much money.
Right.
It's more of an Oscar push for that.
So with that in mind, good brother, let's talk a little bit about Midway, Dr. Sleep, Playing with Fire, Last Christmas. All new movies, all underperforming. Midway obviously having the big spectacle of the Navy and the attack. Dr. Sleep coming off of, 40 years, 50 years of The Shining, but that legacy. Yeah. Ewan McGregor, a big star. Playing with Fire, John Cena, a kids movie in the holiday season, and Last Christmas, literally a Christmas movie when Hallmark and Lifetime are starting to roll them out with Emilia Clarke. All of them underperform, I would say, right? Like, they all underperform.
Well, here's the thing. Out of that whole list, I would say Last Christmas was the most successful because those movies are made for about, what, $5 million? $6 million? Like $10 million, maybe?
Yeah, give or take.
Like, maybe a $10 million movie for the actors, like for Emilia Clarke, because you got to pay her. So that movie's pretty much made its budget back in its first week. Yes, it's a Hallmark movie, but people like those movies. I think
a glorified one.
I think that's one of those, like, so out there people like. Playing with Fire, I don't know the audience that it was trying to hit. John Cena's not The Rock yet. He doesn't sell like The Rock does. I think if The Rock's in that movie, it makes another $20 million.
Interesting.
Because of just the way he advertises. And Rock's got the social media presence that John Cena, I don't think, has hit on the head yet when it comes to the Twitter and the Instagram.
I agree with that.
I think it's very weird. Like, he's great on talk shows, which The Rock doesn't do as many. But I think it's more social media is where you're going to really get your money. We talked about Midway. It's a worse version of Pearl Harbor, and no one was asking for it. Again, why are you spending so much money to make these movies?
Is that Roland Emmerich?
Yes.
Okay.
And all your other movies have not done very well in the theater. And then I think the biggest thing we talked about is, Dr. Sleep critically is good. Yeah. It's a good movie. Here's my problem. People not that are us don't know what it is. Because it's called Dr. Sleep. It should have been The Shining Presents Dr. Sleep.
So when you and I are talking about these things pre-meeting, you always use as an example our father. And you put it the best example. It's like our father would know The Shining.
Yes.
He doesn't know Dr. Sleep.
It doesn't matter if you liked it or not. He knows, Jack Nicholson, here's Johnny. It's so in pop culture. How do you not lean on that? How do you not go and be like...
At all.
Like, The Shining, it's nowhere in the title. And unless you're a diehard fan watching every trailer, you're not seeing all of it. You're seeing, weird witches and And this guy, Ewan McGregor, who I love Ewan McGregor, is not a superstar when it comes to the tickets.
Right.
So it just didn't make any sense.
This is pre-Obi-Wan still.
Yeah.
So, like, we have to see, and, like, Ewan McGregor is an awesome actor who's working a lot. But he has not had a movie in the zeitgeist since he was Obi-Wan.
And that's you're again Star Wars ensemble cast.
Yes,
it's different.
Opposed to we're seeing, and we'll get to in a little bit, what we're seeing right now with Disney Plus and Mandalorian. When he is now the focal point of a series called Obi-Wan, he will hit
TV ratings star.
Yeah,
like he'll definitely bring you ratings like Fargo and anything else he's done. But when it comes to people paying hard, expensive money to see these movies, tickets are only going up. You and me went to a Friday movie. It still cost like $22.
Yeah. And it was still...
And, I mean, we got the bigger screen, but even if we didn't, it would have been like $18. Those tickets used to be about, what, $12 maybe for two of us?
Yeah.
At max 14.
Unless you're going on a Tuesday, you're paying a lot of money.
Like, it's so much money sometimes.
And for context, we're here in Chicago, so we're obviously in one of the major markets.
Yeah,
so
we're definitely in the middle tier. We're not the top two, we're not the bottom, we're definitely in the middle.
So we're paying a little bit more, but like I'm sure people listening like in Kansas and Iowa around us would get a little bit cheaper. But yeah, you understand.
And obviously LA is like 15.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. If you're ever wondering, check out some of the YouTubers that are over there in LA and they talk about how much they pay for ticket prices all the time. Yeah. But that is what we saw in the box office. Is Emilia Clarke ever going to become that star that they thought she would be?
Yeah, I think she will. I think she just needs the right role. There's plenty of roles out there. I just think she hasn't hit it. I kind of want to see what her next one is.
Has this
like I said, I like her. She's charming.
Oh, she's very charming.
She's adorable.
Yes, yeah.
She was the best part of Terminator when she was in it.
Of that Terminator movie?
She was the best part, not Jai Courtney. And I like Jai Courtney.
I don't like Jai Courtney. He's all right. He's okay.
He's a good ensemble character. And again, I hear the movie's great. I hear it's really nice and fun. But again, certain movies, like we're going to talk about Lady and the Tramp when we get to Disney Plus, there are certain movies I just don't want to have to go pay in a movie to see. And I'm one of those people, the older I get, is like, I like screeners. I like early releases because I don't have to deal with a normal crowd sometimes for certain movies. You know, like Star Wars, I like with a crowd. Certain movies, I don't.
Right.
And I don't want to have to drive to the movie, pay for popcorn, because you got to have the popcorn.
Obviously.
You got to.
Yes.
You're not sitting there with carrots. That's just lame.
You heathens.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather sit at home and do that for like $40 less. Because, again, you're not by yourself. You're with one other person minimum.
Yeah, and then you put pizza in the oven, have your own drinks, and you're good to go.
Order food, get takeout something.
Yeah.
Grab a taco.
That is pretty much it. When it came out to the box office results, it'll be very fascinating to see how this plays out and what you could spend your money on this weekend. Because the Good Brother and I have been suggesting this movie forever, and we're going to get a chance to actually see it. It is Ford v. Ferrari that comes out this weekend. But also, talk about counter programming. Charlie's Angels comes out this weekend.
Both getting very, very good reviews.
Speaking of good reviews, The Good Liar with Hollywood royalty and Helen Mirren and Ian McKellen. Like, it's a strong weekend when it comes to, you got Oscar contenders, you have pop culture movies, you have strong actors sprinkled in all of them. Like, this is an interesting weekend.
Charlie's Angels wins the weekend.
I agree. Don't count out Ford v. Ferrari.
No, I'm not going to. It'll get second, and it's going to get all the Oscar nominations. It might honestly even beat out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for most Oscar nominations.
Ooh,
that's what I hear about.
Good bets.
I'm like, they're not really saying like, hey, this one's a for sure win, this for sure win. But it's so good across the board that they're like, there's no way this doesn't pack up all the noms.
That's so fascinating.
That's one of those movies you're like, I can't tell you if it'll win. Because I still think like Jojo Rabbit's kind of like the darling right now to win Best Movie.
Yeah,
I really truly believe
the
that.
The dark horse is Jojo. The favorite, as I'm feeling right now, is still Joker.
Joker's in there too.
The only
Joker's problem it might be making too much money.
Yeah, the Joker. I think the only thing it has wrapped up is Joaquin. I think there hasn't been anything yet that's like, I think there's going to be a lot of nominations, but I think the potential of seeing Brad Pitt, seeing Leonardo DiCaprio, seeing obviously Christian Bale, Matt Damon, and Joaquin Phoenix all being considered for best actor.
It's going to be the who's who.
This is crazy.
Queen Slam is going to come out still, and that should be David Alua, and like, that's a lot of good stuff. That's gonna be, again, The Irishman still.
We haven't even got to The Irishman
There's so many movies still.
This is why shows.
You know what sucks? Quick thing is like a movie like Peanut Butter Falcon, which did get a lot of love. It won't get a nom this year.
It can't.
You know what they have? I think this is the year we finally say it. They're going to go 10.
You think they go 10?
They're going to go 10, and it won't be like an Avengers thing. I think Joker's going to take, they're going to be snide and be like, Joker could take the comic book one, even though it's barely a comic book movie, and then we'll put 9 other good movies. I don't think it's going to be like a Black Panther Avengers thing.
I agree with you.
I think they're going to be like, no, Joker could take that spot. We're going to have to put a lot of movies here. So maybe it does get that 9th spot.
And going to your point, this is why it's really important where if you're on the internet and let's say you're a little bit deeper into this world, let's say not as much as the Good Brother and I, but you do see that like, well, there's a chance that the Avengers could be nominated for an Oscar, or why isn't this movie? This is why it's important, because when we get to this time, so many movies come out that it starts expanding. And like everybody who saw the Joker in October is like, well, this is best movie ended. And like, guys, we have not even gotten to November, December. Like film festival season has just started.
And
like,
I always say that's a release date is so important because you stop talking about Once Upon a Time in
and
Hollywood,
that's why I asked you
which
about
will get
Joker.
a lot of love. Look at Taylor Edgerton and in his Elton John movie, which was great. I thought,
and he was raved.
He probably won't get any love for it.
No, and think about how
because
much
had that
movie
movie been released now, he gets all the love, like Rami Malek. And guess what? The movie's as good as Bohemian Rhapsody. The performances, I believe, maybe not winning, is as you should get the same nomination as Rami Malek. Difference is the timing was better,
and there was
released. It was hot in our minds once these awards came out,
and the zeitgeist wasn't the same revolving that movie that it was.
Like it's hard to put a movie out in April and want people to care that wasn't Black Panther. That changed like Black culture, honestly.
Yeah, and that's the interesting too to see how culturally wise how we do going into the Oscar season, because last year, obviously, we saw a lot of great Black actresses, a lot of Hispanic love, a lot of woman love in the Oscars, which was fantastic because they all.
I'll let you know now, Mike. It's going to be a lot of white people.
I'm saying this year's going to be a lot of.
You know me. Yeah. I go talent.
Yeah.
I love me some Brown. I love me Guillermo del Toro because I thought he had the best movie that year.
Alejandro Villeneuve and like all of them Villeneuve, and like he's obviously got Dune coming out next year. So
like,
we'll
that's
see
what I'm saying. Like I love it. I'm all for it. Yeah. Mahershala Ali deserved it when he was. I'm just saying, I'm going to call spade a spade on this show. There will be a lot of white actors this year because of the movies that were put out.
We'll keep an eye on that.
And I just truly believe, I'm like, guys, it's not a race thing. It's just those were the best performances this year.
The only real, like, and that I can think of on top of the head, and maybe it's just bad, is obviously the Awkwafina movie. I can't think of it at the top of my head where they deal with death, where the grandma's dying in the movie, and she has to come into. It's about the.
See, that's the problem. It's a little too indie almost.
But it was the #1 movie in America. I'll look it up right now. I'll look it up now. I'll look it up. Oscars. Think about how much love the Hustlers got when it came out. Everybody's like, man, can this?
That's still in the conversation parts. But there was a point where we're like, J-Lo might get a nom. We're like, J-Lo ain't getting no nomination right now, guys.
Do you? So yeah. Do you think that movie gets anything when it comes?
No, probably not. But we have to
The Farewell. The Farewell is going to get.
Farewell will get some love.
You see what I'm saying? But think about how far back that was, and like that is a movie
that's going to be like what was Lady Bird?
Yeah,
where it's going to get all the noms. It probably won't win anything, but it was one of those indie dramas. Like, no, that was so good. We'll keep it. We'll leave it.
Holy shit, she is busy. She's going to be a Shang-Chi. Yeah, Awkwafina is super busy right now, but good for her. So I'm super excited. I love this time of year when we get to actually go deep into these movies, and then we start hearing about the movies that are going to come out next year that are in this time period. That gets us a little excited. So we'll break that all down.
But it's the Franklin calling now.
Yeah, it's going to be so great. So with that in mind, that is what you can spend your money on this weekend at the theaters. And good brother, something happened where for the first time in probably internet history, a fan community bitch, whine, and moaned about something, had a legit gripe, I guess, and the other end paid off because we saw the new Sonic
this
design.
is a while ago. Where did you fall on this? Because I was very pro. I'm like, guess what? I don't mind when the fan community does something because it looked bad, I thought. Would I have saw the movie? Yes. Would I have paid for it? Of course. But I think we were opposite, right? I think you were kind of upset for the first day.
No, my biggest thing was it looks bad, but do not get angry and make these animators work hard on a new redesign that's super hard.
Yeah, now I remember. And I was like, well, if it helps them, who cares? And now we look, and it's like, here's the thing that's going to judge. Does it look better? Much better. Was the trailer even better in general? Yes. Here's my problem. If this movie needs to make money now, if you go out there and we bitched and moan that we want a new Sonic, and no one goes to see it, you're the problem now. Now they know, okay, I could have put the same thing on, not spent the money redoing this, and the same people would have came. It's like if we had done this with Ninja Turtles and they made them look cool and then it makes more money, then you have a point. So if this movie makes money, now you have a voice, people. Now you officially are on the board of like, no, we're going to take what they say serious because it makes us more money. If they don't make more money, now you've proven, man, we could have left it the same and made the same amount of money.
Does it make money?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. That's
more money than it was going to make.
I wonder how much Jim Carrey helps this movie.
I want to see the release date. That's going to affect it a lot. I think Sonic as a character sells because I think for a generation that is the other Mario. And I think we can't deny that. Like, it's not like a Smurfs where, like, no offense, like, we were all way too old for the Smurfs. Our grandparents like the Smurfs.
But what
Our
do you think
parents
about
do.
Pokemon, though? Because Pokemon hasn't killed at the base.
It made money.
It made money, but
it's
going to
get a sequel. But here's the thing. You didn't make
Straight
Pokemon. You made a Detective Pikachu.
Sure, okay.
It still made money.
Yeah, okay.
You haven't had this kind of, like, super or kind of mascot of a genre make a solo movie in a long time.
And he beat Mario to it in this era, in this way.
And Mario's doing the animation, obviously.
Which is better, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's smart.
Yeah.
But I don't mind them going for this.
No.
Like I said, here's the difference. People always bring up Smurfs and the stupid rabbits. Difference is, this is a property people can get behind.
Yeah.
This is something we all grew up with, and even if you don't, if you play Smash, you know who Sonic is.
And he's still around.
Everyone knows who Sonic is.
And he's around.
And again, I think I say it about Smurfs all the time. That's not our generation. I didn't grow up with Smurfs.
No.
I don't care. They were a joke by the time I grew up, so they were a punchline.
And I think it's funny you say that because I think we're going to get into another story later on about a trailer that dropped for another nostalgic thing that it kind of merged into our generation because of a live-action movie. But what's important about Sonic is that it's been part of the zeitgeist. He's been part of the Macy's Day Parade. He's been in movie scenes like in Wreck-It Ralph.
Fast
He's
Blue
been
Hedgehog.
around.
You know what he is.
So,
Rings.
I like it. Good for the fan community and good for the creators.
I'm going to watch it. I want to see the release date to officially say we'll make enough money, and I also got to know how much it cost. Because that's the other thing.
Yes,
You look at movies, you're like, man, if that movie, like Solo, had they spent this much money instead, it would have made money. Had they have done this, it would have made money. Yeah. You know, there are certain movies like it that spent $400 million but made $900 million. Of course. So we always got to kind of determine, oh, they only spent like an extra $20 million. That's not bad at all. And they made 30 or something.
And really fast before we move on, speaking of another big icon and mascot of his brand, we haven't seen a trailer. We've just seen posters, but there's a name change to the new SpongeBob movie. Does SpongeBob still sell in 2019 comparative to what, like even 2012?
We're about to find out.
Okay, very interesting.
His last two movies sold very well, so if he keeps getting sequels, it's because they're doing well.
And they do different animation for each one, so it's not like they stay within their own niche. They always kind of like change the flavor of it.
I think SpongeBob still definitely has an audience.
But good brother, we move from the big screen and we move into what's been the number one story in all of our hearts, been the number one trending story for weeks on end.
36 million downloads.
We are talking about the premiere of Disney Plus with the dropping of The Mandalorian Episode 1. So, this is how we're going to do it. Let's start off with how did you like the Disney Plus app, how it looks, how it's presented?
Looks great. It was easy to download. I didn't have any lagging issues. I know you didn't either, which, you know, I never really have in these situations.
Other than WWE, we never.
I don't get that usually. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very blessed with lag for some reason. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe the area I live in. But I loved it. I thought it was very easy to download. It was very accessible. It was pretty straight down the path of these are your sections. Go to your sections. I love that it's like a Netflix style of like, well, this is what's popular. This is what other people watch. This is what's new. It was great. Like, you really couldn't have asked for anything better.
I agree. I actually really love how it looks. I like that it's very clean. I like that it pops.
I like their opening.
Yeah, I love it. So I think just in general, it's going to be very user-friendly.
You can definitely tell what they're pushing. They're definitely pushing The Mandalorian. They're definitely pushing these new movies like Land of Tramp. The Simpsons, they're heavily pushing. They're like, hey, remember Simpsons. We owned them.
And we'll get into all that in just a little bit. But let us get into the main course of this feast that is Disney Plus's debut. I want to do it this way. 36 million people downloaded this, which means I would say at least 10 million probably watched Mandalorian.
Here's what's funny, and I thought about this. We were so excited for The Mandalorian. I would bet it wasn't even the most watched thing. I bet it did crazy numbers.
You think the vote did?
I don't think it was probably the vote.
The vote, I
agree.
agree.
Because like I said, living in my house with all these women and the baby, there's been 7 Disney movies on in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like, just keeps it playing. I laughed 101 Dalmatians, came home to Frozen. I laughed to Aristocrats and came back to Little Mermaid. It's just ridiculous. And I'm like, maybe people did want this more than like, and you see it on Twitter and people talking about our generation, talking about the old school Disney shows, like Lizzie McGuire's trending big.
Boy Meets World.
Even Steven's movie. And all that stuff. So I think it's fascinating that I'm like, yeah, I loved Mandalorian, by the way. It was great. It was
we'll
fantastic.
get into, but since we're talking about this right now, I went down and I watched Forky Ask a Question. Was funny as shit. It was him talking about money. So obviously go watch that. I actually watched, just to see how it's streamed and to see if I could get to it, I watched Spider-Man from Foxbox.
Great.
And the first episode was the Venom and Carnage episode, which I don't think is the first actual episode of the series, but it has it down as season 1, episode 1. So I want to see how they do.
I think it might be.
It even might be. Like, I have no idea. But so correct us on the comment section below, wherever you're listening to this. Let us know if that's actually how the series starts when it came on the Foxbox. But before we get into the main course that is The Mandalorian, how about a little bit of entrees? Did you watch anything like you were saying? The ladies were watching.
So I watched Lady and the Tramp. Adorable, 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 fun movie.
I can't wait to see it.
I really enjoyed it. I keep telling you all the time, Mike, I was like, had I had to pay for this, I'd have been pissed.
That's your new mantra, really. I like that mantra.
Like, had I had to pay for it, I probably would have been a little more critical. The fact that I got to stay in my bed, eat popcorn that I bought, my little pop,
nice.
Healthy popcorn.
Yes.
I loved it. It was Charlie. It was Tessa Thomas and Charlie Theroux.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they play the human version and the dogs, so that was very fun.
So cute, by the way.
Benedict Wong's in it.
Really?
Sam Elliott's in it. He plays the hound dog.
I love Sam
Elliott. It was fun.
Elliott.
It's one of those movies you're like, man, I really am enjoying this fun live-action remake of Lady and the Tramp. They got rid of the racist cats, and now they're just normal-sounding cats. And it was very fun. Like they did a really good job with it. And it's one of those like Netflix things where you're like, kind of like El Camino, you're like, I really enjoyed that. And I got to watch it at home for something I'm already paying for.
So it's wonderful. I think I'm going to do the entire year once my free trial comes up, and I'm just going to do the package to get Hulu and ESPN Plus.
See, I already have Hulu, so I had to bundle it up.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I think we give a thumbs up for Disney Plus.
I mean, 70 million thumbs up probably.
Finally, the steak is done. Let's dig into this
meal.
How do you
like your steak?
Medium well. Excuse me.
Medium rare.
Medium rare. Yeah.
Okay, so the right way.
Yeah,
I was like,
right
medium
way.
well, you're a terrible person.
Yeah, I was like,
no, jump off a bridge.
I literally had to correct myself because my father-in-law might be listening to that. So with that in mind, let's talk about this delicious feast that was The Mandalorian. I don't even care. Watch it. I don't care what Good Brother has to say. Watch it. It's a premiere episode. It's a pilot episode. We love it. I want to talk spoilers with him because we have been avoiding it.
I kind of want to avoid spoilers for episode 3 just because I know a lot of countries haven't gotten it.
Oh, okay.
I say this. Let's just try to avoid the last.
All right.
How about this? There's something that happens the last 10 seconds that's huge in the Star Wars universe in general, including the movies. Just Star Wars lore is huge.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that for a few episodes, and maybe next week we'll get into it when it premieres more.
Can I just say then how I felt when I saw that?
Yeah.
The biggest pop. Yes. I felt all the emotion. I'm not going to say what emotion I felt because that gives it away.
Yeah.
I felt all the emotion in it.
It was fantastic.
It was I just want to say
it hit. You could tell they put it there to hit, and it hit.
Yeah.
For a pilot episode, I'll equate it to not the exact feeling, but the moment where in Game of Thrones, episode 1, the pilot, I would consider it to the very last 10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Same with Breaking Bad. Yeah. Where it was one of those, you're like, that is huge to end on.
Like,
good for you. Even Watchmen.
Which we'll get into in a little while.
I was like, oh, that's how you want to end the first episode. Yeah. Okay, that's what we're in for. I'm all in.
So my favorite instance, we're not going to talk about the creme de la creme.
Not the spoilers, because there's a lot to talk about. Non-spoiler.
Let me give some shout out. I love Taika Waititi's little robot that he has in that movie. Such a badass.
What is it? IG-11.
Yeah,
IG-11.
So fun. Yeah. I love the self-destruct gimmick throughout the entire designated it to self-destruct. I thought that was fantastic. But I want to get into Nick Nolte. I have spoken.
I have spoken.
Amazing.
I love Nick Nolte.
He was amazing. But let's talk about the new man crush of my life, Pedro Pascal.
He has a mask on the whole time.
Oh, my God,
and the whole rumor is, will he take it off, will he not? That's how good of an actor he is, that with a mask on, I'm like, I feel everything you're doing,
so
I love it.
I'm going to confess something I've never told you, and I've never told anybody on pop culture. I do not like Mandalorian stuff. I think Boba Fett's overrated. I think the only cool thing about Boba Fett is his costume. I think he's been overblown by a generation.
I don't think that's a bad. I think everyone kind of feels that way.
My new favorite Star Wars character that's not Poe Dameron is the Mandalorian. Yeah. In one episode, Pedro Pascal's everything. When Nick Nolte sits to him and says, "You're a Mandalorian."
Yeah. What's Diego Luna's character in Rogue One?
Cass Endor.
Yeah, I like him too.
All right, so that's my third favorite character.
A lot of Hispanics.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal, and Diego Luna. Huh?
Mexican, half Mexican.
Yeah, so I think I'll take that. I adore Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. There was some Clint Eastwood shit about
his voice is perfect.
His mannerisms, the way he walks like a cowboy.
It was so cool.
There's just something gravitating. And he was my favorite character in Narcos. Yeah. And he was one of my favorite characters.
That's why they brought him back.
In Game of Thrones as the Red Viper.
Yeah.
I mean, him and the Mountain have one of the greatest rivalries of all time. Yeah,
you murdered my children.
I did. Okay, so we can't talk about Game of Thrones here, brother, because they're non grata for the Star Wars universe. I love The Mandalorian. The way it starts, the first 10 minutes is some of the most brilliant Star Wars I've ever seen.
It's almost a heist.
Yeah,
and I love it. And I think everyone says it best, where it's like it definitely does a good job of being like, we've never given you a Star Wars show. It's going to catch you off guard a little bit because we got to pace it out a little differently. You're not going to get the same thing you did. So some of you might hate it at first, but stick with it. And I loved it because it's Star Wars. I love everything about Star Wars. And we have watched the animation. So, like, we're kind of used to the way they pace it. I loved it. Like you said, it's the best quote is they spent 20 minutes on something that would take 5 minutes in a movie. Because that's how much time they have. Mm. And they let you sit in it for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Like that whole, just his first bounty. The whole first scene is basically like, hey, I'm doing a bounty. This is my job. And we see Carl Weathers. Like, it's great. And then you get Nick Nolte, and it's like, oh, I can see what the show's going to be. It's missions. It's maybe an overarch, but at the end of the day, it's like, what kind of bounty around? What kind of mission do we have? Oh, and at the same time, we're going to explain these alien creatures. We're going to explain these robots. We're going to explain what happened to the Order. We're going to explain what happened to the Mandalorian.
Let's get into the time period.
Might come up.
Yeah, let's talk about the time period.
10 years after Last Jedi.
Return.
I thought it was Last Jedi. Isn't this the newest part, technically?
I thought he said that this was 10 years after The Empire Falls. So that would be 10 years. That would be 10 years after Return. I love that the time period kind of shows the disarray because you see stormtroopers are the equipment that stormtroopers have are very ragged and torn apart. The world that they build in the first 5 minutes it's unbelievable because you go into this like saloon.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, after Return of the Jedi. Right. Yeah.
And
that's what I mistake. Yeah, Return of the Jedi, not Last Jedi. Yes,
but the saloon. That's what I'm talking about. Like you feel like you're going to see Han Solo in the corner when you walk into that scene. Yeah. And did you think that when they mentioned the smuggler that Carl Weathers is talking about is Han Solo?
No, because we would have heard about that already. We already kind of, you and me heard that it was going to be the robot.
Yeah.
Because that robot is in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Standing with the other ones, with Greedo and all them. Mm-hmm. So remember, this is 10 years after the last original and 25 before the new reboots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating. No, I didn't know. I forgot it was going to be the robot. I thought it would be just a cool bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to see, like that crew of Boba. We're definitely going to see Boba Fett at one point. Like he's definitely probably was like his trainer or like his mentor, something fun like that.
So let's go ahead and hit this in case it really becomes something in the zeitgeist. There is a rumor that Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian is Boba Fett.
Wrong.
But I told you they literally show a scene of him being part of the Purge. So like he's not.
That's clickbait. That's clickbait.
Then it's fascinating though that as long as Pedro Pascal isn't Boba Fett, if you tell me like he got out of the Sarlacc pit and that's going to be one of the mainstays of the series.
Technically, it's not a spoiler. We know he gets out of it. That's canon. That's been canon for 5 years already.
Which Star Wars story does
the anime and the books, the modern books? And I know a lot of people don't do it, but that's canon.
Oh, I know it's canon.
So technically, he did live. Okay. But now, is he alive? Now is whether or not. Because he lived out of the Sarlacc pit. Could have died right after.
Sure.
We don't know that. This is still 10 more years after that. So in those 10 years, now I think that's going to be fascinating. What happened to Boba Fett in those 10 years?
So I'm super excited.
They were going to make a movie. Jon Favreau was going to make that movie. Obviously, we're going to get Boba Fett somewhere in this show. Remember when they announced all those movies? Yeah. Jon Favreau was put on this one. Then they said, oh, wait, Solo did bad. No more movies. Oh, we have Disney Plus. Boba Fett's going to be in this movie, in the show.
Jon Favreau will probably direct most of season 2, if not like a portion of like 2 or 3 episodes. This was Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
I think Dave Filoni did a great job for his first time doing a live action. He's the guy that did Rebels, Clone Wars,
it's
for all the
great.
people
Yeah,
up there.
no, they're great.
There was some, and I agree with John Campea. He does a show with Christian Harloff, two of the best Star Wars movie nerds that we have.
One. One.
Here's
Christian.
the thing.
Campion's good at other things.
He mentioned that this one did feel a little anime, and maybe for the first episode, it would have been as a nice stamp to have Jon Favreau be the one that does it. The problem was he was busy filming other stuff.
Yeah, and
that's a nitpick.
I think it was fine.
Yeah.
I think here's the problem: you put a couple little dinosaurs in there, and people hate it. That's
like
what
that.
Star Wars is.
Yeah.
Like, I am so confused, and I always tell people, my biggest argument is this. People like Christian Harloff, John Campea, I love them. They're old school. They're a generation. They taught us everything.
They're the original generation.
They're the original, but it's our job to question them and be like, had you had Twitter when the original trilogy came out, we never would have heard the end of those stupid Ewoks, the Tauntauns, the
was just
Yeti.
very soon.
There was a Yeti in Empire,
Hell
guys.
yeah, dude.
And like, I think the Yeti's cool. Yeti's kind of dumb, though, to be honest. Like, it's kind of pointless. I'm just saying, like, it's that we live in an era where we can so easily see people's opinions compared to back then when it was a couple opinions in a newspaper. And it's just ridiculous to me that it's like, oh, well, it felt like this, felt like this. I was like, I feel like you guys are old men that forgot, like, that's what Star Wars is. Like, it is meant for a younger generation. So if you have an issue with them riding these dinosaurs, I thought it was really cool.
Well, and they need to sell toys.
I was like, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's so toys. Everyone likes it. I like it. You like it. Like, it was cool.
But here, and people forget. I had shout out to the Toys That Make Us that comes out later on this week. I'm super excited. High five.
Wrestling,
We love that
Ninja
one.
Turtles, Barbie.
Oh, it's beautiful. And here's the thing, though, is Star Wars is built halfly off the toys that they bought when they were kids. That scene when you see the Mandalorian rising up with him, it reminded me of your Stormtrooper toy that you got for the Phantom Menace.
Exactly.
It's like those are iconic shots for every generation that's watching
We
it.
literally end the movie on an Ewok planet with little teddy bears, which I love and people hate.
Dude.
Had that come out today, that would be the other Last Jedi, where half people would love it, half people would despise it. So at this point, like, guess what, guys? Cannibal wasn't that bad. It was fine.
Yeah.
Was the movie a little long? Sure, because you cut parts there? Sure, but it was fine.
I
fine.
still won't forgive him from Jar Jar, though. So, good brother,
you had a costume. You
You
bought
had a
the
costume.
lollipops. Marcos had a costume.
Okay, you see how you put it on the little brother, though.
But I'm just saying, he sold.
Yeah,
he sold.
We had the Vader and Darth
He's in
Maul
canon.
costumes and the Stormtroopers, so that was cool. With that in mind, Friday is episode 2, so we'll be breaking down that episode, and then it's just week by week, right?
I believe no. I thought they were going to put 2 out on Friday and then week to week. Was I not right?
No,
they were supposed to put out 3.
Yeah, but I think it's just episode 2 comes out Friday.
And then 1 more and then back to normal. No,
I think it's just week to week to week.
I will see.
Yeah, look that up because we're going to go ahead and jump into another.
Either way, we're going to get
trilogy.
1 more episode at least Friday.
So you loved it?
Loved it. I love the universe they set up. I love everything about it. It's one of my favorite pilots. Here's my thing, because we'll talk about it later. Because a lot of people said, well, it's hard because I'm watching Watchmen. I think you got to remember, and it's easier with a movie than a show, you have to set your mind and you got to be in the right mood for that again. Because I watched this first and I watched Watchmen a little later. Because it's very different. Like, we're talking about very different shows for very different companies. So you have to acknowledge, like, this is good for a different reason. Let me relax. Let me unwind. Let me get a little more childlike in my mind and be like, okay, now I want to go to Star Wars world.
Well, good brother, I'm going to take that comfortability away from you because we go right into Watchmen
Growing
episode
fetuses.
4. So this was fascinating. Obviously, that Jeremy Irons scene with the fetuses was crazy.
The
way
baby
they were
screaming, the
catapulted in.
clowns coming alive.
So with that in mind, I think we've
I
been
have
pretty
no
good.
idea what the hell's going on there, so.
Yeah, no, but I will say this. Okay, did you like the episode?
I love it. I think
Same
the
here.
show is like just hitting perfect strides
All
now.
right, so let's go into spoilers. We loved it. Keep watching it, guys. Stick with us every episode. We're doing spoiler reviews.
Yeah,
of
we will
Watchmen.
spoil this
Yeah,
because this
we're
is
gonna
on
spoil.
HBO. It's out to everyone.
So I think it's fascinating because it looks like he is in a dome of sorts. That's
Like,
keeping him
like
safe.
he's on Mars or the moon or something.
Or like Dr. Manhattan's keeping him
It has
in
to be
there.
Dr. Manhattan.
I think that.
It has
because
to
if you're
be.
seeing the bodies, they disappear. So
Yeah,
there's a veil there. With that in mind, I like this episode more because it dealt deeper into a universal story. It wasn't so self-aware, this one. This one felt much more like, okay, we're starting to hit the stride of the middle of the season. Like, okay, we're starting to see we got
now
a new mystery
we're really showing you a lot.
where we're at. There is some supernatural in this world. There is some
We met our billionaires,
Yeah.
our new Ozymandians. We've met are some of our background characters. We're getting a little bit more information overall from the FBI, from
Lady
the
Faye.
vigilantes, the family, sister.
Okay.
Because she's like a nun supposed to be.
Now, her daughter, you think she's a real daughter or a clone?
I thought they were just adopted.
No. I'm talking about the trillionaire.
Oh, the Ozymandian company.
Yeah, I'll look up all their names right now.
Yeah, she's a clone. Definitely a
The
clone.
daughter's
That's
a clone
why she
because
has
she
the
has the
ID
memories.
bag and the memories,
Yeah.
and there. So that also makes me think. Wait, are they working? Maybe that's who's working with Ozymandias.
I would have
Maybe
to
they're
think
all
so.
working together. Maybe we're like not going to get Dr. Manhattan until he's like, I've had enough of this shit, sort of thing.
And that's what really I was trying to figure out is because she's having memories talking about her feet hurting. Like, where are those coming from? How does she know about
Like
that?
maybe she was part of that raid on her village where the comedian and Dr. Manhattan just won the Vietnam War in this universe, basically.
So, what do you think about the
I have no
storyline
idea
with
what's going on
Regina
sometimes.
King's grandfather?
See, that's what, and like I said, it's a good confusion. You're like, man, I want more answers. Like, give me more. And like, that's why I love it's not based on the comic. Because they could have easily gone that way. And the difference is, I think it doesn't work because we know what's going to happen then. That, okay, squid, nuclear bomb, we see what's coming. I love it here because I'm like, I have no idea what their plan is. Like, they're working together. I'm sure he's some sort of a good guy. But what's going on? Like, what's the story here? Like, we're based, even Regina King, we don't know too much about her.
No.
She's from this part of the country. Now they know that her grandfather knows. Like, it's very interesting. I can't wait. I don't do scenes from next week because I love to be fresh. So I can't wait. Like, every week I'm like, okay, what's the one thing I'm going to learn now?
Lady Trey.
There you go.
I do have one thing that I've been saying from episode 1. I think I've only told once, but I truly believe it. Senator Joe is the guy.
Yeah,
the senator's a joke.
Here's my thing. I think this we're argued is I think it's so obvious that
that's
they don't
what
do
I
it.
was gonna say, so I
in
wonder if
this
it's-
universe, it's like they don't have to do that in this universe because there's enough randomness going on. We just saw it, Lube Man. We don't even know what the hell the Lube Man is.
So random.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. Like, I think it's like easy answer. There's a secret society. The other answer, we have no idea.
No Rorschach in this episode. No Rorschachs.
Yeah, or the cavalry.
The cavalry, yeah. But we did hear the tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's all planned and like none of it really matters. And like maybe they're not the bad guys. Maybe they're not. Like at the end, maybe it's not a white supremacist thing.
So with all these news that we've just talked about, when it comes to The Mandalorian and Disney Plus, we're talking about the Watchmen, HBO Now, HBO Max that they have coming out.
Remember Friends reunion?
Yes.
Not a show, an unscripted just reunion.
So when you think of that, then you have to think, what is the competition going to do? How are other apps going to survive? Like Apple, at least,
They
with their
won't.
new Apple TV. But Netflix
They
has
won't.
signed a deal with Nickelodeon to tap into that nostalgia of the people who are our age who are
And
buying
guess
these
who's
things.
who the face is? The Turtles. The Turtle, like the big article came out. Yeah, you're gonna get your Rugrats,
Rocco's,
but
big
like
one.
they're like they get the Turtles, they get Rocco, they get all the Hey Arnold, like all those movies coming out, they get them, and they have a multi-year deal, and that's fascinating. They still have all these Oscar movies. I think this year at the Oscars, they're gonna have maybe 3 movies representing them that came out technically as a Netflix release by the end of the year.
Irishman?
And there's 2 more coming out later this year.
Which was the Timothy Oliphant one? The one about where he's the king? Is that Netflix?
That's
Okay,
Netflix.
okay,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. That one got pretty
Maybe
good
Dolomite?
reviews. Dolomite. But the movies I'm talking about haven't even come out. Like
Okay,
they're like
yeah.
really lower name Netflix movies that are early critically claimed.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. I think Netflix definitely the problem with Netflix is the price.
Where are they at right now?
They're like
13?
$13.99, I think, $14, which is kind of steep.
Why does
For what you're
Disney?
offering?
Why does Disney at $12.99 sound so much better than
$6.99.
$12.99 with the bundle with ESPN Plus?
But
and
we're
Hulu?
not. I don't count. We're not talking bundles
All right,
right
so
now.
I think
That's a whole different conversation.
well, I think if you're gonna do the $6.99, you might as well just do the $64.99. Like honestly, like it pays.
Sure.
it off.
Again,
Like,
we're
yeah.
not.
I understand.
Different. We could have a whole episode
It's an
about
economic
the
thing. I agree.
bundles,
But what I'm talking about, do you think because of that price difference, why does it seem like even though you're not gonna get
because again, it says one, it's half. It's $6.99, $13.99. Let's go as simple as that. It's half, and I feel like already I'm getting just as much. You know, like I
that's what I'm wondering. Like, why?
Like,
does it
I
feel
feel
like
like
the
I'm
value's
getting.
there?
And guess what? Disney hasn't even released everything. They've only given you half the MCU movies, half the original content, half of the Vault. Like, they're doing weekly episodes now. Man, they're looking good right now.
And they did just...
Here's where they run into, they don't get to be original as much.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, they have to play in their 5 sandboxes compared to Netflix, which could give you a BoJack, could give you a King, could give you these random shows of, I didn't know I wanted that, but that's a great show.
And they just doubled down with signing The Witcher into a season 2 without even premiering.
Let's be honest, they have one of the top things in the world, Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That definitely is going to keep them alive for 2 more years.
At least.
Like minimum, that's going to keep you going. And the Oscar pushes. So it's interesting. I think when it comes to cut the cord and paying for this, like, yeah, you're going to have to bundle. Now we get into it. You're going to have to bundle with Hulu. If you're paying for Hulu separate, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, right now you are.
And I have Hulu. I don't pay for it. It's one of my friends.
Sure.
So it's on the TV, but I don't. I canceled my Hulu subscription because I just wasn't using it enough.
Yeah.
Netflix, you need. HBO, I think you need. I say you don't need cable. You get a Sling TV, and then you throw on those 3. You're still paying, if not the same, but you're getting everything, or a little less, and you're getting everything.
Where they get you is it's so much more expensive to pay for just internet that's good to help stream than it is to just get the entire...
Well, you also can get the super basic cable packages, which means you get most of your sports.
Yeah, which is the most important.
Which is football. You get football and basketball and baseball. Yeah. Like you just
not even anymore because everybody's got their own network now. The Cubs are going to have a freaking network.
Yeah, we'll deal with
that when we get there.
That'll happen, and eventually you're just going to have to
get used to
chalk it up.
Yeah.
Yep. Or
just
bundle up.
Yep. And really fast, good brother. I also wanted to give this for a little. We keep into the nostalgia world. Scoob.
Oh yeah, Scoob.
What did you think?
Cute. Yeah. Very cute. I love the song they put in it. Yeah. I love the animation. I love the ending thing. Yeah. Long beard. 10-year-old Scotch sounds like my dad. I think that was funny. Like I love Scooby's adult humor, and I love Scooby. Like when he licks him, he's like, "Let's not do that again." This just looks fun. It looks very fun, and I think they're definitely setting up a universe because they're putting the Falcon in there, where the Blue Falcon. So they're gonna, I think, set up that Hanna-Barbera multiverse.
In a world where the Addams Family made all the monies, don't count out nostalgia like this. Money. Huh?
Scooby makes money.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's what I'm saying. So
I don't think he's ever been in a theater and not made money.
And you're not paying for live action. You just animated this thing.
Yeah.
It's going to make all the money. And think about it. When the people like the Minions make all the monies, Scooby in this type of art form can make the money.
Scooby always sells, yeah.
Good brother. It's time. Full Gear went over the Bleacher Report Live app, and if you paid the $59.99, you got a bunch of wrestling, whether it was good or bad. I watched it.
You got the best looking indie show I've ever seen.
Here's the thing. There was some good. There was some bad.
There's a lot of bad.
The problem is this tribalism that is AEW and WWE, and it's not just an internet thing. It has taken over the zeitgeist where because people love Chris Jericho and he's so charming that
Chris Jericho was great. Cody and Jericho was good. That was my favorite part of the night.
It was easily the best part of the night.
And yeah,
I liked Young Bucks versus Proud and
Here's
Pride.
You've seen one Young Bucks match. You've seen every Young Bucks match.
I
like that Carlos and Santana went over.
Yes,
but
that
was
got
fine.
buried right after. I
hate the women's division still. I don't get it. I don't think they're giving me a reason to get it. Jericho Cody was fantastic. MJF is great heel.
Horrible heel turn.
Like he's got great going away. He's got great heat, and I love it. I like Moxley.
Yeah.
I hate Kenny Omega for some reason. I think he's just so full of his own shit. That was fine.
It was okay.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I don't think it should have been the main event.
It was long.
You probably could have put that in the middle for a hardcore match. I can't even really remember too much else that was going on there.
So you don't get yelled at. The gimmick is that it has to go on last because it's not part of the show. That's gimmick.
Stupid.
But that's the gimmick.
It amazes me that they do some things that WWE does would get shit for.
Preach on it.
And no one wants to call them out on it of like, well, that's bad storytelling. Like, why is it unsanctioned? Why does it even matter then? Why is this? Why did he do this? Like, they do a lot, and I'm fine with it because wrestling's wrestling. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But I think people are finally taking a turn of like, okay, this isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And I can like it just to like a different. I mean, everybody's burned me enough, but I think you need to accept it for what it is then.
Well, how are you going to shit on Rusev, Bobby Lashley, and Lana, and then say like, oh yeah, but Joey Janela and Sean Spears is the wrestling clinic?
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, hold on. Like, no. You can't have it both ways. You could enjoy Sean Spears and Joey Janela, but do not then tell me that this other programming is bad.
Like, how are you going to hate on Seth Rollins fighting all these nice young and up-and-comer NXT guys and don't mind when Kenny Omega does it?
But, and my biggest thing is
wins. He actually wins every match.
The only pop culture thing I can equate this to is Walking Dead fans when they were at their chestiest versus Game of Thrones fans, because it was the two hottest shows that were legitimately competing against each other for ratings. And you just knew long-term Game of Thrones had what it takes because it had an end game.
Had a better product.
It was a better product all around. The idea, though, being you don't have to be so hardcore like Walking Dead fans were fighting against the Game of Thrones train, opposed to, like, both of them could eat at the table. And I think that's the problem I'm having with AEW. The fan base, the hardcore fan base of AEW is not letting me enjoy it. I just don't enjoy the fact that, like you said, I could turn on NXT right now, the best women's division in wrestling.
Yep.
Some of the most entertaining storylines in wrestling.
And they're doing a great Survivor Series setup. And guess what? The ratings are coming in. And obviously, here's what it says. No big deal. But if you're going to call ratings out, call them out as they are. AEW is still the third-ranked wrestling show. And NXT is slowly tightening up that lead. It is what it is, people. You can enjoy it, but don't throw it. Well, they've won 10 weeks in a row. They won against a third brand.
And the overhead is, this is what you always got to think about.
SmackDown still doubles their views.
But think about overhead, when it comes to overhead expenses. AEW is a brand new company that spent millions of dollars to bring in talent, travels, arenas. NXT, all they did was add 40 minutes and go to network television.
And guess what? They're within 20,000 or 200,000 basically.
But they've never, the thing is, nothing changed for them.
Yeah.
And like they've succeeded.
The fact that they have any views is positive.
Bingo. This was a WWE Network show that now averages 800,000.
At least a million. Let's just call it a million, because that was during the World Series. Like 1 million viewers. Still some of the best views on a Wednesday night television.
And they just keep, it's interesting because now we have this conversation where AEW is doing all this. They're coming off of Full Gear. Jericho's still their champion. We're going to see what happens between MJF.
Let's see how they come back home is.
And now, with that in mind, we see what WWE is doing with their NXT Survivor Series storyline. And we now see that Fox and WWE Backstage bringing CM Punk,
the worst kept rumor ever,
into the fold. Now, gotta call a spade. We're not, the dirt sheets. This is a Fox deal. This isn't a deal with WWE. But
that's
pretty
like saying, damn close.
That's like saying, like, I signed a deal with Marvel, but not with Disney. It's like, no,
technically you're right. Yeah. But
no, don't get it twisted. Like if Vince had a conversation, be like, hey, I don't want Punk on my programming at all. He would not be on their programming.
Punk obviously did talk to people.
Yes,
he's had meetings, guys. He will be back in the WWE ring.
Yeah.
Not soon, but probably sooner than you think.
We're getting there. I don't know if he'll ever do Saudi.
I think he'll do I think I could see him doing a WrestleMania. A main event WrestleMania and call it a career. And then just do it. I think he'll come back for one more match.
My fantasy
He'll main event against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Which I think a lot of people talk. I think that's your main event. CM Punk, Seth Rollins.
WrestleMania.
Doesn't even have to be a championship. He goes out whatever way you want him to. Next year, throw him in the Hall of Fame. He does your sports show. He just becomes commentator. You show him the respect you need to. He does the last thing he wanted to do, and he's done.
Imagine imagine if we lived in a city that could host a WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, we don't. But
now here's the thing: we are getting Survivor Series, so there is
we don't host a WrestleMania. We're like just under.
It's not that Chicago can't host a WrestleMania. It's like we can't host one. There's nowhere to put it.
The stadium you would have to. There's nowhere
to put it.
It'd have to be an outdoor thing.
Unless, and here's the thing: they wouldn't go to Soldier.
Nope.
Here's the thing, though: you have to think. It's one. Okay, so when the next time WWE goes to Madison Square Garden for WrestleMania, that's when I'll say it's possible for them to come back to the
I don't think they'll go back to
because they have MetLife Stadium. Yeah. So that's the point. When they go back to an arena for WrestleMania, they'll be like, okay, they're just going to now do the tour again. Yeah. But since they're going to do the new LA Stadium where the Rams play, so they're not going to Staples anymore. Yeah. Obviously, you got to wait for the Bulls and the Bears to get a new stadium.
It just sucks because I think those, even the days of us in consideration are dead.
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing this up is obviously we're going to be at the event.
It's just too big.
And the only reason I bring it up too is you and I are going to the Survivor Series is about to land. So is NXT, AEW Dynamite. So we have all this coming up into Chicago. And the reason I bring it up is fantasy booking for me with Punk being at Backstage now. I would love WrestleMania Chicago. You have Seth Rollins repping the Bears, and you have CM Punk repping the Blackhawks and Cubs. It's just one of those cool scenes,
Your dreams are
just
are impossible.
It's
They're
right
impossible.
now it is. Yeah.
Like the stadium that could host a WrestleMania doesn't exist in Chicago right now.
It's only 63,000 Soldier
That's
Field.
what I'm saying.
Go there.
So it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can't, like, that means that the CM Punk Seth Rollins will be retired by the time they make a stadium.
So sad, isn't it? Though.
So at this point, you take what you can get, and I still
agree.
think you give him that one last main event and call it. You're going to get the talking, you're going to get the views. One match, that's it, just one match, and he's done.
I just don't want it at this WrestleMania, not at Tampa. If that's the only time I can get it,
is Tampa, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah,
he needs to be the main event.
Yeah, but
he needs to be the main event of WrestleMania.
I want to see him in the new Vegas stadium.
Maybe
that would be kind of cool because it'd be the glitz and glamour of Punk versus
If
Rollins.
it wasn't Rollins, is there anyone else you'd like to see? There's
AJ,
like a million people.
AJ, I would love to.
It's all storytelling. Like, what's the best story to tell? I think there's a Shield background in there,
I'll tell you
and
what.
a Punk and Shield sort of thing where you can get it.
I'll keep it real. For the old school in me, I want to finally see, because I was there the night they both were really made. I want to see Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk. Both of them kind of like at their last real. They're the guys. Like, one has main evented and has been over at WrestleMania 30, and the other one is finally getting.
You know what I would like, and honestly, in it, one match, last match for both. John Cena,
that would be great.
CM Punk,
that would be great.
Doesn't matter who wins or loses, they both are done.
Yeah.
And it sucks because, John Cena, CM Punk could be, I think.
Yeah.
John Cena, there's no way in hell he'll ever be done. But I would love to see, like, no more wrestling. One final match, the end of be all. CM Punk versus John Cena, main event, WrestleMania, whatever, one last time. Like, the last match. The people that made each other's careers, really.
You know what it almost reminds me of? It's almost as if with the Triple H, Rock, Austin thing where Daniel Bryan, John Cena, CM Punk, and even Randy Orton, they all always intertwine with each other.
Yeah.
And Orton and Cena obviously were the main two, but like Punk and Daniel just kind of hung around there. So I think it's awesome to have our guy back. I know we can hate on him because he's ours. Like, Chicagoans, wrestling fans can hate and love him at the same time.
I don't think we hate on him.
No.
We just hate on people's pressure on him.
That's it, because then it makes him have to respond and be like, assholes, stop talking to me this way. Like that's
chill,
the thing.
I have a life. I have normal things.
And shout out to AJ Lee. Good, brother, before we get out of here, Jedi Fallen Order comes out this Friday. Death Stranding, starring one of our favorites, Norman Reedus, came out last week. You're not the biggest of gamer. You like watching them. You know about it. You've seen the zeitgeist. Jedi Fallen Order getting some nice love. How do you feel when you see something like this, or like the new Spider-Man game that came out last year, when you see these IPs that get the right love, like the Arkham games, and they come out big?
Successful games break into pop culture. Like the Mortal Kombat, like the Spider-Man,
God of War.
What's this one, Norman Reedus again? Sorry, say the name one more time.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. It's sticking. It's already getting the memes and the sticking out. So the cream rises. Like Red Dead Redemption, God of War. Like the good stuff will rise and the bad stuff will die. Down here. So like I said, all those games I named are the games that usually win Game of the Year. And everyone's talking about because you can't avoid talking about it.
And I picked last year's correctly. I picked the last 2 years correctly. I think this year
if you were only this good at movies, we'd have something.
I think Resident Evil 2 might win.
No, I think you're. Is that your guess?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, no, that's your fun guess because I think you're not dumb enough to guess.
I'm gonna wait another month.
I'm like, I don't know games. That's not winning.
It's the only one that people are still talking about from this year.
No, it's gonna
January. This game came out in
Mike,
January, and here's the thing: it's not going against a Final Fantasy. It's not going against a Grand Theft Auto.
Norman Reedus is winning it. Red Dead came out. Like no,
Red Dead didn't come out.
Was that last year?
God of War beat Red Dead.
Oh, that was last year. No, Norman Reedus will beat him then.
Norman Reedus is going to be in it. I just don't know if he's going to win. Well, here's it's the only way Norman Reedus.
It's not as stacked as last year when you think about it.
What?
Last year was super stacked with games.
Yeah, last year was
this year was a little calmer.
So this year I'm saying it's Resident Evil, Death Stranding. I think one of the Personas. Like there's a few of them, but I think it's going to be an interesting. Maybe Norman Reedus does walk away with Game of the Year. But good brother, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this heavy, meaty episode of the Good Brothers. Winter is here in Chicago, good brother. It has been so freaking cold in our city. I don't know if I can handle it, especially if the Bears don't pull off a win against the Rams this Sunday. And here's the worst part, good brother. If they do win, they legitimately are in the playoff hunt, and they're going to torture people because they cannot get a high draft pick. They're not going to get a quarterback. They're not going to look at anybody. I don't know. How are you feeling about winter already being here in November, the second week of November?
Winter sucks, but breaking news, the Russo brothers are going to the comic world and doing a Marvel versus DC documentary.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
for
fascinating.
QB.
Interesting.
So fascinating. They're going to talk about the war, or the so-called war. And I thought that was just fun because that just broke 10 minutes ago.
Good for them. I like the Russo brothers.
And winter sucks, and jump off a bridge if you like it.
But that'll do it for us on this episode of The Good Brothers. Follow him on Twitter at Mercado21 Alex. I'm at Mercado2333. The show's at Good Brothers Pod, and the network's at Mercado Airwaves. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Like, rate, review, share us, subscribe to us wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Mercado Airwaves. There you can get all the episodes of all the shows that we do right here. Visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. It's brand new. We added new tiers, new things for you guys to be involved, win prizes, listen to interviews, ad-free, and with early access. It's going to be really good stuff over there for all our supporters. Subscribe to us at YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333, or just search up the Mercado Airwaves Network. He's on Instagram at Mercado2121. I'm on Instagram at MikeMercado2333. And if you're inclined to, the Loving of the Comanches on all the platforms at Typing When Tipsy. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Anything for Salinas.
I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you in the next episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado
Airwaves
Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.